We are back. The Odd Couple Costa Rica is where we're supposed to be in our houses. I'm in La Fortuna. Who in the hell knows where my partner Alan is? Somebody says he lives on a mountain. And yes, guys,
it's
welcome,
a secret.
Man.
I'm running from the law. I'm so far up the mountains you couldn't find me if you had a hound dog.
I am Michal Alan from Travel Costa Rica Now. My partner Alan Target from somewhere up on a mountain, but he is living in Costa Rica is his YouTube channel. Guys, we're back kind of fresh from the relocation retreat. And I got to tell you, we're still a little energized because we had tons of fun. We had a freaking great group, man. All the groups are different. This one just happened to be just a little bit more party oriented. Kind of fun doing the whole dance thing and fun thing. And they went on a lot of the adventure tours, which is always makes it a little better. But we just had a great time. We're not going to hit it too hard with that because you guys have heard this before. But we had a great time. And we'll probably do our little infomercial for about 30 seconds and a 25-minute mark about the relocation retreat. But that's it. Alan, you had a great time, though. You had a great time, right, meeting everybody?
Oh, man, it was really a blast. Look, it was fun to see Michal Alan on the dance floor. Rebecca's on the dance floor. I'm out there shaking a leg. We are getting down. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It really was. It was just really cool talking to everybody. So, really, it was cool. But, hey, how was your week this week, Michal? I mean, I know I did a lot of resting.
I couldn't. I had to get back to it, man. I didn't have much time for that. A lot of things happen. I'm trying to do this and that. And, but for me, I got to be busy. If I'm idle hands, I get close to devils. Yeah, it's not good. I have to be busy, man. Hey, I'm going out on the lake today, though. Haven't been out on Lake Arenal. We got a lot of friends in from Canada. Some of them, they weren't really happy with the way their country was dealing with the C word, and they couldn't come. And these are people that were coming every year, staying for 2-3 months. Longtime friends of mine. We're going out on the party boat, Alan. We're going out on the party boat, Lake Arenal, the backdrop of the Arenal volcano. Going to be a good time today.
And you didn't invite me? I'm hurt. I'm crushed, man.
Dude, I had a week of you. I can't. That's enough for freaking a year. If Rebecca wasn't with you, I would have got sick of you in 2 days.
Well, that's okay because Rebecca and I, we're going bike riding today. We're going to jump on the Costa Rican Harley, which is really a little bitty Yamaha 125.
A 125?
Look, that's the most popular bike in Costa Rica. Little bitty 125. That's nothing, man. And they put 4 people on it.
No wonder you only eat broccoli, because if you ate meat, you'd be too heavy for the bike.
You're right.
That's where that diet came from. Now it's all making sense, Alan.
That's it. Well, hey, let's get after it, man. This is just we live in a crazy world, but it's been a whole lot of fun. But there's a lot of people that's wondering why I am in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I want to start with that. You know what? It is very interesting. My brother does live like you in California. But I mean, I want to get to how you picked. Did you come over to Costa Rica to live remotely? How are you doing? I know you're about done with at least the construction of your house. How difficult that's been since you live up a mountain. Do you have Sherpas take your stuff up there? How do you even get things up there? I want to hit it all because I think as the world's taking a turn to the left, a lot of people are getting interested in this kind of off the grid, on the grid living. And even if they don't really know too much about construction or want to do it, I think it's popping into people's minds that, hey man, I got to take my life in my own hands. And that off the grid thing sounds pretty interesting.
Well, you're right.
Let's start there. When you first came over to Costa Rica, or even before, when you're thinking about it, was remote off the grid living from the start your Rebecca's goal?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, people, whenever I came here, of course I landed in San Vito, but even before I came here, my goal was I'm going to find nowhere and I'm going to put my house in the middle of it. That was the plan from the original intent. Now, I didn't know I was going to end up right here on this 1,000 acres, okay? But the reason
Well,
I found this.
well, that's interesting because I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was just thinking you've been to a lot, you've lived in a lot of places in these 10 years. And it's like, so you had no really idea where you were going to land. You were just open for like wherever. Cause that's, I mean,
No, you're right. I was open for wherever. However, it's like you said, I mean, on purpose. So let me back up just a little bit. I knew I wanted to be on 1,000 acres. I didn't know if I could afford 1,000 acres or not, and I still can't afford 1,000 acres. But in my mind, I'm like, I want to be on 1,000 acres. And so, I mean, the first month I'm here, I'm looking at, I'm online, 1,000 acre properties. I found this property in the very first month. Came here, guy wanted way too much money. We became friends. I left and we just went all over Costa Rica. Well, how about this place? How about that place? You know, this is kind of cool. Let's check out, you know, and then we're finding out what's the temperature, what's the environment, what's the people. Hey, are there big properties here? Can we live in this area? So we went all over for the next stinking 8 years. And then 8 years after we got here, ended up living on the first 1,000 acres we found the first month we came to Costa Rica.
I know, but what about access to things? You just froze up. Maybe you can still hear me. What about access to like medical, maybe a town? Did you have any like, because there's a lot of difference between living in the Central Valley kind of off the grid than living in a remote area of Costa Rica being off the grid, because it could be a kind of a city that you're close to up in the mountain, or it could be a little bum, 200 people town. So what about the surrounding area? How much did that play in the decision of you, where you picked? And also, was it always going to be up on a mountain? Because again, there's a difference between being up on a mountain off the grid than being kind of in a more flatter area and all that. So what was your thinking on those things?
Well, even before we left, Rebecca and I always wanted to be up on a mountain. So we wanted to be on a mountain, but we also, because even back then we were health nuts, we wanted clean water. We wanted clean food. So yeah, if I was 1,000 acres in the valley, I'm not going to get clean water because, hey, all crap rolls downhill, okay? And so all the crap's down at the valley. Well, I wanted to be up on the mountain. And on the mountain where I'm at, there's no cows above me. There's no people above me. All that water I get, it's so super clean. There's nothing in it but water. It's clean. So it was always up on that mountain. So we went to a lot of different places, but it was with the intent. Number one, I was looking for some black dirt, right? Black or brown dirt. So I wanted good, clean dirt that didn't have a lot of chemicals in it. So I was looking for that place. And, after being here for just a short time, I realized I didn't want to be close to other people. While I'm a people person and I love people, I'm in my element when I'm around people like at the event. But I didn't want to be. You come down here, the Ticos, they're just having fun. That's all, because there's not a lot to do. But they're riding their motorbikes, their motorcycles. They're doing wheelies down the road, and you hear the big trucks going down there, Jake brakes. I wanted to be up on the mountain where I didn't hear none of that. Only thing I want to hear is the monkeys, the wildlife, the birds. That's what So it had always been, and so I knew I wanted to be remote, but it didn't have to be this remote, because getting here, it's like you said. I would have to travel 26 kilometers before ever getting to the first town. 26. So there's no such thing as
that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's like you don't stink and run out of bread, and it's like, hey, honey, can you go to town and get me a loaf of bread? Ain't happening, right? So
I think Rebecca could get you to go 26 kilometers for a loaf of bread. Come on, Alan. She's got you wrapped around her finger, dude. Don't even play that hardcore sergeant military BS with me. You would walk to get the bread if you had to.
He's gonna do that today, Michael.
Well, you know what? Just real quick before we move on. Well, we don't have to move on, but what about Rebecca? Because it is a thing where two people kind of got to agree on this. Because if one person's not on board, this could go south just in a relationship sort of thing.
Well, you're right. And what's funny is Rebecca will tell you straight up. Now, Rebecca is not a people person. She is like, she, I don't know, it's kind of maybe like you.
I love people. I just don't.
Well, no, she likes people, but she would much rather just be by herself, doing her thing, watching the monkeys. She loves people, and she has a great time when we're at the event talking to people. She loves to help people, but after a week, she's ready to be back and do her thing.
You know what the irony is of all that is she's not really a people person. The people actually like her better than they do you. That's weird. It's all crisscross, dude. What happened? No, go back to the access, though. Go back to that whole surrounding thing, because it's more than a supermarket, dude. We're getting older. How the medical services play. I know we've talked about this, that we're very proactive, both of us, in our health, that we believe in, prevention first, so, but explain that thinking.
Well, see, I mean, I have always been super healthy. Always. Okay. So the thought of whether there was medical services nearby wasn't a big issue. And when I came here, hey, closest hospital is 3 hours away. Okay. So it's like that wasn't a big issue for me. And still, I hadn't been to a hospital at all since I've been here in 10 years. Although I did go to the clinic because I got papillomaria, and that's where the mosquitoes on the Caribbean side got me. And anyway, so I just hardly ever sick. But anyway, it is important to think, especially, I mean, we met a lot of people at the event, and there's some people at the event this week that want to do exactly what I'm doing. They just simply want to be somewhere remote. It doesn't have to be this remote, a little piece of property, growing their own vegetables, growing their own produce so they can be healthy. And there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, there is. I'm just, I'm in total agreement with you. I'm just afraid that as I get older, that stuff could change. And you're up on a mountain now. I mean, one little slip up and, all that health stuff can go right out the window. But I'm with you. Trust me. I'm going to risk it. Actually, just for me, I'm going to keep probably pushing the envelope until I guess I can't maybe, but.
Well, you're absolutely right. A lot of stuff could happen up here. And look, there's very, very few people that are up here. And I actually want to do a story on, because I'm building an off-grid homestead up here. Not because the world is going to hell in a handbasket or anything like that. I have always been, I want to be able to have my own garden. I want to raise my own trout. I want to be able to, have fresh vegetables and produce. I've already got mulberry trees growing, mango trees growing. I've already, I'm planting stuff, and I like that. But yeah, it's here's probably one of the biggest challenges of living where I'm at. In the United States, if a tree falls, if there's a road blockage, if a bridge goes out, in that same day, the city's going to come up here and clear the road. That doesn't happen in Costa Rica almost anywhere, okay? Well, especially if you're remote.
Yeah,
so living up here, in the wintertime, I walk the road every day. It's just part of what I do every morning as far as staying healthy and strong. And I bring a little shovel with me, and I'm constantly working on the road. So there's always landslides. And my neighbor and I, we're out there by hand moving truckloads. I'm talking about truckloads of dirt that no man with any sense would do, because you just hire a tractor. Well, you can't hire a tractor out here. And so we're cleaning the road. So that's probably one of the biggest deterrents to living as far remote as I am. And no matter how remote you are, you got to do that. But there's only one way in and one way out.
So what you're basically trying to do is you don't want to go to the store even once a week. You're trying to be pretty much self-sustainable on the mountain without leaving the mountain, really, right? I mean, you're trying to, not that you would never go down. I'm not trying to say you're going to hermit it, but just less time down and doing your thing, where you're at.
Well, even before, even when I was in Louisiana, when we would go grocery shopping, we would go, I don't like to go grocery shopping. Rebecca don't like to go grocery shopping. So we go shopping, we'd buy 2-3 months supply, and we stocked up in our house. So we didn't have to go grocery shopping. So it really didn't change anything. Now we buy a 3-month supply or a month supply, and that way we don't have to go in town that often. And so while we don't have to go shopping that often, hey, you know what? Rebecca and I still take her out on dates. So, Friday night, it'd be like, baby, you want to go out? Yeah, we go out Friday night, we go to a restaurant, get us something good to eat, but I don't have to go shopping. We can go do the date thing and we can have a good time and come back up the mountain.
You know what's interesting? I think there is probably, for every one of you, there's probably about 100,000 of me, where at first I go, I would never do that. But I would do that if you built, okay, you get it all started out like you're doing, and then you start selling lots a little bit. Maybe we're still far away, but still up there. We're kind of doing not a commune, but a neighborhood of like-minded thinking. And now I feel good because you set it up, because I don't know any of that. And I have a house to go to, and then I would participate. I think there's a lot of us out there that, we don't know how to get the water from the stream and, do some of these things, but we would move to it. You know what I mean?
I would love to do that. I mean, that would be pretty awesome, But hey, and it's exactly what you said. I mean, Michael is saying every day that maintenance sounds intense. Well, it sounds intense, but it sounds worse than it does. I mean, this morning I'm walking down there. I got my little bitty shovel, and there's a rut that there was a tiny slide. And hey, what did I do? 15 minutes I filled in the rut. And that's all I did today. Tomorrow I might work another 15 minutes. Some days it might be, I might work 2 hours depending on how bad the road is. But hey, it's that, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so and for me, it's like, hey, I just got in an upper body workout for 15 minutes. And so it's that little stuff, right?
So I got a great idea, Alan. I'm thinking. You build me a house. No, wait a minute. This gets better. Rent free, and I will go get the tree out the road. I will go milk the cow. I will go pick the strawberries.
That's starting to sound pretty good.
Just give me a little house, little
strawberries. That's probably $1,000 an hour.
Little tiny home. And you know what? People like me also I don't think most of us want a big house. That's what we're trying to get rid of. I think if you had, let's say, 1,000 acres at your disposal, and then maybe there was a communal area where we could have the barbecues if we wanted to. But if we didn't want to see you, we could be out here. We all kind of pitch in, but there's no we don't want a guru, Alan. You can't be a guru. You cannot be a guru.
Hey, I would love that. I mean, because here, I have thought about this a whole lot. It'd be like, hey, how cool would it be, right, that you have this one big communal garden, if you want to say, right? And so the people that enjoy gardening, they can help out in the garden. But you know what? Guess what? If they want to go and the garden's big enough and they want to pick some stuff and cook it up on their own, or hey, maybe we all want to, let's all have supper together, and that's all the food that's from the garden. And I don't care whether you eat meat or not. Hey, let's go kill a pig. And if you want meat, you eat meat. Me, I'm gonna eat fish. I'm gonna have fresh trout. Okay. And hey, but if you want to barbecue chicken, let's barbecue chicken. Just make sure you bring the cervezas.
Yeah. So we get like-minded people up there doing all this stuff, and then if we get some lazy ass, all the guys get together and kick his ass down the mountain. Just don't call anybody. You're out. I'm totally not kidding, because if you remember, Alan, which I know you do because it was just last week, we had a speaker that's kind of doing this, where he's got a little community, we'll say, and he only will accept like-minded thinking to start with. Now, this whole diversity thing, I don't mind. Diversity should just be in thought. You can say things, you can have your religion, your this, respect other people, but you also have to have like-mindedness in taking responsibility, treating people right, honest interactions, not trying to rip people off. We're all in this together. Once you start getting diverse and, identity politics stuff, your ass is off the mountain, because I would be the first one to throw your ass off the mountain. So
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, everybody's, if everybody's doing their part, it becomes easy. I mean, take a look at what Kim says. Well, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, what do you do for internet? Well, I did that out in the middle there was no internet no electricity, no water. I had to put all that infrastructure in. Well, for internet, I took my neighbor. I mean, he lives way out here, and every little town has a town school, like Little House on the Prairie. So his kids were going to the 8th grade. They're going to be finished. And in order for them to go to school, they would have to drive 26 kilometers every day to go to high school. He didn't want that. He wanted them to go to online school. He wanted internet, but there's no way for him to get it. And I says, hey, you help me. We'll hike the tower up there in pieces. We'll put it together. You help me put it together for free, and you'll get internet for free. And he's like, you think we could really get internet? I says, I know we can. And guess what? Took us a couple of months, and I got internet. So, hey, there's things you can do to do whatever you want. You get enough people together, you can accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, but everybody's got to pull their weight, just like you said, Michael. And if they don't, well, guess what? We work him over until he decides to leave or pull his weight.
Right. I recall you telling me that story. I thought you told me that you put 100-foot thing on your shoulder and took it up 2 miles in the mountain. You did it yourself.
71-foot tower. And
on your shoulder.
That's right.
On your shoulder, hiking it up. That's the story you told me.
One hand. Actually, that thing breaks down in 8 pieces. So it breaks down in 8 pieces, and each piece is about 11 feet long. So anyway, and then we get up there. Look, we had to haul cement up there by horses, the anchors. We mixed cement up there. We put all that in the ground, and we hoisted that thing up there. So I'm climbing the tower and bolting that tower together, putting the cables. It was a lot of work, but you know what? We got internet. And hey, guess what? Rebecca was toting stuff up that mountain right along with me. And so, I mean, she came up there, and look, I got a video where I'm digging a hole and she's supervising. So she was helping.
You do get a lot of diverse thought and a lot of people that know different things. You're obviously very well versed in a lot of this stuff yourself, and maybe you don't need a bunch of people, but could you imagine, let's say 20 of you in different areas? So maybe there is that retired doctor up there. Maybe there is that retired teacher that wants to give back. And we have again, not crazy, 7,000 people, just a small community, because I really believe we are meant to be in like communities of about maybe 250 max. 250.
Oh, absolutely.
Strong community. And yeah, we might barter with the other fishing community over there because they got the best scallops. But we do our thing, they do their thing. We meet when we meet. Maybe sometimes we all gather and have a good time. But I really believe, as you see the world doing this globalization, it's not going to work. I'm sorry. It sounds good on paper. Hey, we're a melting pot. Well, it doesn't work when there's such not like-minded thinking. That culture's different. They have an ideology of this certain thing, and they can't, whatever. I don't care, but I don't want them in my village. Yeah. They can do them, but I want to do me. So you definitely need like a like-minded thinking in certain aspects. And I just think with all that diversity of, again, educator, doctor, maybe there's that electrical guy, there's, this and that. And
well, check out right here. Check out Michelle. Been talking to Michelle. She's wanting to come over. I think she's going to make it to our next event. But hey, she has a medical background, okay? She has a health background. How valuable would it be to have Michelle up here on the top of this mountain? And so, hey, we got people like Michal Alan's getting old and he's got something going on. Hey, Michelle, can you help me, man? I got a ringing in my ears. And it's like, oh, it's just this spider. She can fix you up, right? But if we got these like-minded people and you're working together, it don't get any better than that. I mean, I talked to a couple that was there at the event who knew a whole lot about herbs and medicinal herbs. Well, if we got a garden, we've got an herb garden, all of that together, right? And look, I used to drink a gallon of milk a day. I love fresh squeezed milk. Well, you got people that want to raise cows and love cows. Well, then you got someone that's making butter, making milk. Everybody's working together to create this amazing community. And you're up in the middle of this place enjoying life.
I don't know. I think it's doable. And I think it's, again, the way people are seeing the world move, I think this is getting very attractive to a lot of people. I just want to give a shout out to Michelle. I worked in a hospital for about 5 years, and nurses are better than doctors because nurses do almost everything. A doctor just comes in at the very end or whatever, but nurses rock. But anyway, I couldn't bring too much to the table except for my picking the strawberries and cutting down the tree. I don't really have a whole. I'm good with. I've always been a hard worker, so I'd be more of that person, and I'm a good second guy or whatever to throw the guy off the mountain. But I just think this is gonna become more attractive to more people, and you're gonna see these places like our friends that spoke at the relocation retreat. By the way, guys, real quick, let us do this. We do have a relocation retreat coming up. The dates are set. It's March 3rd to March 9th. You know what? We've already sold 4 or 5 tickets in the first day. That's how attractive it is getting. So if Costa Rica is on your radar, or maybe you've never even been here, but you want a crash course, or you think the world is kind of going south and you're trying to make decisions, this relocation retreat might be for you. Now, if you sign up with me, I get the credit. If you sign up with Alan, he gets the credit. So whoever you want to sign up with, go to that person and sign up. But we would love to see you there. They're getting better. They're getting full. It's fun. It's fun. So anyway, the dates are set. We would love to see you there. And you know, this sounds like an infomercial. Hey, if you act now, you get the space. The spaces are filling up. We've never done this before. We've never had 4 or 5 people sign up the first day. And
That's right. That's pretty impressive.
March 3rd.
That's impressive. And so, it's no doubt that this will fill up quickly. So if you are even contemplating it, then hey, just go ahead and buy your, reserve your spot, and then you can work out the details on where you're going to stay, your room, and all that later.
All right. Anyway, just wanted to let you guys know that. Let's get back to you, Alan. I want to talk a little bit. I know I don't know I know you can move in because the construction is almost done that way, but not necessarily the house is complete. So where are you at before we talk about how difficult construction is on a mountain? Where are you at on your construction of your house?
Well, I'm getting real close, and I was super busy because a lot of people are like, "Well, dang, Alan, what happened to you, man? You ain't even putting up a video, And I've been super, super busy. My priority was I got to get in this house, got to get in the house, got to get Rebecca in this house, and so we're real close. I'm predicting that this month we'll actually be moved into the house. We're actually sleeping there, but I'm predicting that we'll move the kitchen, we'll move everything in there and be in the house this month. It has taken a lot longer than I had expected because of how remote we are. I don't just call up the hardware store and have them bring stuff. That's why if anyone has seen my galloper in my videos, there's this humongous rack that I had built, and I actually haul stuff. I mean, that galloper has hauled tons of stuff up that mountain, and I'm talking about when it takes 2.5 hours to go up the mountain, you're traveling real slow when you got hundreds of 1,000 pounds of metal on top of your vehicle, getting it up here so that you can build a tiny house. So I'm about a week away from getting the inside. The inside is not done. I'll finish it while I'm there, but at least I can get out of the barn and live inside the house.
What's been the time zone of getting to where you are now? Has it been a year, 6 months, 2 years?
I actually started clearing the groundwork, putting in the foundation post for this house at the end of January. So end of January, I guess you could say about 10 months I've been hitting it on and off, trying to get it done. But I'm doing it all by myself too.
Yeah. So how's the water, the electric kind of work? I mean, is it the government? Are you involved? Are you paying like Couple Costa your electricity bill, or how's all those things work?
See, there is no electricity out here. The closest electricity pole is about 10 kilometers away. So there is no government electricity. So no electricity comes up here. So I actually did a lot of research, found a reputable Tico that sells solar panels and batteries, installs them. He came out, installed 2 batteries, 6 panels, and And that's where we get the majority of our, well, that's where we get all our electricity to. Now we're going to quickly outgrow that though.
Yeah, I was going to say that's adequate, or you're going to have to make
Well,
another
it's
move.
adequate depending on what you need. See, I like to eat healthy, and I like to cook, but I don't like to cook every day. So when I cook a huge pot. So it's kind of like going shopping. I'll cook a humongous pot of spaghetti sauce with vegetables and all that. And then, I'll put up maybe 60 containers of sauce in the freezer. And so when we get ready to eat supper, it's like, hey, what we going to eat today? We'll bring out spaghetti sauce, boiled noodles. We got spaghetti. Hey, we're going to have rice and beans or whatever we're going to have. We just pull it out of the freezer and eat it. So because I have a huge chest refrigerator, I got 2 monitors. Rebecca's got 2 monitors. We pretty much are tapping out our resources, okay? So, but it's easy to add on to it. I'll add 2 more batteries, 6 more panels. That'll be adequate. The cost, though, what is the cost of that solar system? Well, the 2 batteries and the 6 panels, which for most people, if you didn't have all that I have, would be adequate. It was only about $6 grand. Now I'm going to double that. So it's going to be about 12 grand for electricity, and it's going to be good for, those batteries will be good for 20 years. So I won't have an electric bill because I paid my 12 grand. And if you wanted to divide that out and say, well, your typical electric bill in Costa Rica, if you're using all these electrical appliances, might run you $150, $200. Okay, well, game. See how long that pays out. So that's how all my electricity, there is no water here. So I had to actually, research. I had to hike in the woods and say, hike in the jungle. Well, look, there's some water right there's a river, there's a creek, and I followed it all the way to the top to find out where it came out at. And I dug it out, and you'll be seeing now that I'm this close to getting into the house. Every week you'll see videos coming, and you'll start seeing more of the off-grid video, and I'll actually be showing how did you get water? How did I do this?
Now, what's the chances of the government interfering in what you're doing?
Absolutely zero, unless I cause a problem. The government puts in, and because the reality is it is illegal to get water from the river, but thousands upon thousands upon thousands of Ticos do it. So Costa Rica has these 2 laws. It's illegal to get water from the river, but the other law is every person has a right to have water. So they conflict with each other. So why do they have the law that says it's illegal to get water out of the river? Because if you're causing a problem for Costa Rica, and you're this gringo who thinks he's got rights, well, good. We'll find you and we'll throw you out of Costa Rica because you're doing something illegal.
Good luck with that, yeah. So how hard was it, or is it, to do the construction? Is it very time consuming? Is it taking a longer time or whatever because it's just more difficult, just for the literal reasons that everybody would think was difficult? You're on a mountain, you're doing it yourself.
Then on the mountain, if I had 3 or 4 guys with me, and if I had the money to pay 3 or 4 guys, I would be done. Okay. The hardest part was getting the materials here, and going back and forth to town. The only reason it's taken me as long as it is because, well, I love doing it, and I'm doing it by myself. Okay. And, to complicate matters, I love a challenge. I've built several houses, but I built them all out of wood. Well, this is the very first house that I'm building completely out of metal. Now, I did build a small metal shop that was 8 foot by 12 foot, and I did a little bit of welding on it, not much. But this is the first house that I've built that I'm building it by myself. It's all welding. I don't even know how to weld. I can melt metal together, but now I can weld a whole lot better, But I'm teaching myself how to weld. So, if I built it out of wood, it'd be a way further along than I am now. But I'm having fun learning how to weld, and it's messed up. I grind it off, redo it. So, there are challenges being on the mountain, but the biggest challenge is getting the materials up here. But like Rebecca put it in the comment right here, she says you can hire a taxi truck to deliver supplies wherever you want to. Yeah, you'll pay for it. Okay. So I've saved a ton of money by bringing it up myself, but you can hire trucks to do it.
Now, anything that looking back, you would have you made a couple mistakes, or you would do over, or I wouldn't do it like this. It can't be all fun and games, and you make the best decisions. Is there anything you could tell us about that to maybe save somebody else the heartache that maybe you've gone through to this point?
Yeah, I would say that plan out what you're going to buy, right? Plan out what you're going to buy, and then as soon as rainy season ends, which is right now, we're at the end of rainy season. Okay, we're at the end of rainy season, and so you could actually say November, buy all your stuff, have it brought to the top of the mountain, covered up with plastic, and then immediately start building, because you're going to have about 6 months of summer, which is going to make life so much easier. It's hard to build in the rain.
Dude, people do forget about this all the time. I see it from people that even live here for a long time. They're not thinking, and all of a sudden they're starting to construct during rainy season. You lose so much money, so much time, all kinds of things, and it's a pretty simple solution. Yeah, it's still going to rain a little bit, but nothing like it would, usually in like the rainy season. So I have seen people make that mistake that have lived here 15 years.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just, you got to be thinking. And if you think, it will make things so much easier.
Yeah.
Now, people want to live remote, and they don't have to live this remote. I did find some properties that it was blacktop all the way to that remote property. Okay. And so you can find properties where it's, look, you can actually live on 1 acre of land, put a house on that 1 acre, and still have enough property to grow everything that you need to be self-sustainable. You can on 1 acre of land.
Yeah,
if you do it right, you could do it.
Now this is so what is obviously this is a project that's kind of almost never ending, because you're always going to be doing something. But do you have any kind of, what we were kind of not half joking about, but have you ever thought about like a small community of people? Or that's not in
I most definitely have thought about it.
I mean, your friend Michal Alan, obviously, but I'm talking about other people.
Well, absolutely. I have thought about it. And if I have the finances to do what I'm thinking up here, because I've already gotten the plans in my mind, have been talking about it. Okay. And so if I have the money to buy the property that I want to buy, in my mind, I've already got the most amazing place. And I think, and it's what you were saying, I think a community with little tiny houses, because we don't need much, outdoor living, sidewalks that go down. So if I get the money I need, I wish I had a financial backer, boy.
Here's what, okay, I'm going to propose something. I believe that myself and you have a platform where we've been around for a while in Costa Rica. I think a lot of people know us, and I think rightfully so, a lot of people trust us. I've worked very hard on securing my integrity and my honesty. I think that we should make this a bigger thing and look for investors of people that would ultimately like to be out here, trusting me and you that mostly you, that you could continue this project, expand it with other people's money, with the whole investment part of it, and working out, getting money back, whatever. But looking for investors, I think. Normally, I would never say that, dude, especially with real estate around here. I don't trust none of them. And I guess people technically shouldn't trust us either. But if somebody did think that your project was, hey, man, even if it's just me and nobody else, I wouldn't mind Alan, getting stuff set for me, getting my little lot of land, maybe puts my little foundation in, helps me with my stuff. And I'm going to invest, and we're going to help each other out. I totally see it happen. It doesn't have to be 200 homes. It can be 5, just 5.
Well, look,
so just throw it out there.
Oh, well, look, if I had the money, because there's tons of property here. Okay. If I had the money, I would buy the property and I would start it with 2 houses. One, I've already got mine, but I'd build one house, fill it up, build another house, fill it up, build another house.
Even if it's one at a time. Michelle just said, build community with purpose. That's what we've been talking about the whole time. It's like-minded thinking. So of course we have purpose. Of course we want to work as a community to better ourselves, our kids that may be there, the whole thing. So it wouldn't be just, I live in that house, Alan lives over there, and Frank is a mile down the road. This is community spirit.
That's right.
This is community, not just freaking you got a house. So that's why I'm saying it might be possible if one person on here goes, I would trust Alan. I think what they're saying could work. You know, I want to be part of it. Maybe they could work out something with you. I'm not even saying I necessarily have to be a part of it, but I'm just saying that I love what you're doing. And that's why I would love to be up on that mountain. But again, I couldn't start it. It's just not my wheelhouse. It's not what I'm interested in. I don't give a rip about making a house. I'm be perfectly happy with somebody else building my house for me. So I don't know. It's just something to throw out there. You never know who, it finds this interesting and can hook up with, and then maybe it's just mutually beneficial. So.
Oh, absolutely. And take a look at what Chesalon says, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but he has a YouTube channel. Anyway, he says, well, what about bamboo housing? It does take a while to grow, but grow some bamboo on the property and you have free materials on site. I actually just planted some giant bamboo and was doing some research on that. And so, and in that one video, that guy said, if you'll plant the bamboo, it will take you 5 years for it to grow, but after that bamboo grows, you'll have an endless supply of building materials. And that's absolutely right. But however, so, you know, if I were to do a community like that, you know, I don't want a community where it looks like a trailer park and you got trash everywhere, because I think people that want that kind of community, you want to go somewhere and everything's pleasing. It's pleasant to the eye. And everybody's working together. It's not like you got trash piles all over the place, but you can build a bamboo house that really looks phenomenal. You can build tiny houses. You can build hobbit houses. There's a place right here. It's a beautiful hill. And in the hill, you can build little hobbit houses where the whole front is glass. And the majority of the houses is in the hill. There's all kind of things. So there's things that's running through my mind I would love to do. And check out what Pamela Teal says. She says, we would be in. Pamela Teal loves the idea, you know.
She was at a relocation retreat, if I'm not mistaken.
Just last time. Or
you know,
2 times before.
If I'm running the community, you just don't get to build any house. I'm sorry. You know, now they all don't have to be the same. I wouldn't do that. Like, I wouldn't be like one of those, you know, the community, you can't put up a flag or some shit. But it would have to be a semblance of, it has to look. As a gay guy, I like things looking good. It can't just be a mishmash of freaking houses and doing whatever you want.
And that's exactly what I'm saying, right? I don't want it looking like some trailer park, right? Very few there are some good looking trailer parks, but hey, you know, everybody would have their space and enjoy it, you know. So anyway, I would love to do that. Hey, check out what Michelle says. Yeah, Hobbit house. I think that would be really cool, right? Not to mention that you've got that controlled atmosphere and climate. Although up here, you know, where I'm at, it is, I've never seen it. When I wake up in the morning, it's usually 59, 60 degrees. And the hottest it's ever gotten has been 79, 80 degrees. So the weather here is amazing, right?
You know what's also interesting. I don't know if a lot of people know this because maybe they've never been here or don't live here, but you know, we're not talking about condos by the beach. We're not talking about houses that look like they came out of Escazú or some of these ritzier places. You can build I think people would be surprised of the bang for the buck they could get if they kind of said, I want to simplify. I kind of like what I want. I think I want granite counters because I like granite counters, but I think they would be amazed at how inexpensive. Now that land that you might have, that you might sell, Alan, to them would probably be the most expensive part of the whole thing, because the house to construct is actually not that much, man. I don't think people realize how much they could get for $50,000.
Wait Seriously. A minute. I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, well, you know, I've been building most of mine now. So right now it's 8 foot wide, and that's on the inside. So I built it so that on the inside from wall to wall is 8 foot wide and 32 foot long. Okay. It's off of the ground. All right. It's all metal. And I've got glass all the way along the front, or will have in a week or two, but it's all, you know, I've got to finish the window frames. So just take a wild guess, and I might have told you already, but take a wild guess. Now, the inside walls aren't done, but talk about bang for the buck. Just take a wild guess. How much money you think I've spent so far on just materials for what I've got?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I just know that I you know, these little Tico houses that I am, this house was probably, now again, practical. The cement walls are the thinner ones, not the bigger ones. It is like a tin roof type of thing. I bet this house was like $11,000 to build.
Oh, I bet you're right at that day and age. For right now, if to build the same house that you're in would cost under 20 grand. Now,
Oh, yes, for sure. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
yeah. Now, what I've built so far, 8 foot wide, 32 foot long, and it's all metal, okay. But I've spent under $8,000 in materials.
Hey, man, that deserves some balloons or something, some fireworks or some sort of celebration.
Yeah, I can't remember what was the balloons. I can't remember what the balloons were, but I know that's fireworks.
I think it was this. Get fireworks in there. Get something. Oh man, come on! There we go.
Can you imagine? And look, when I get done with this, and I won't. It'll take me some time, but I want the inside to be nice. I do want some granite countertops because I cook, and when I cook, doggone it, I want where I cook to be nice. Okay, and so I will build practically most of my furniture and the cabinets. I bet you I won't have 20 grand in my house when I'm done.
And I don't think most people can believe that. They come from another world, man. And I just don't think people understand how attractive what you're doing is and why it could be attractive to maybe have 20 homes in there and maybe look at investing into it, even if you don't plan on going anywhere for a few years. The world is not going in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. And I do think people probably should start taking their life into their own hands and not expect anything from wherever they're from and whatever government it is. I think people should start looking. And that's why the relocation retreat is filling up and will be packed and it's going to keep getting packed. We'll probably have to have more of them every other month. So I think what you're doing, you're in the beginning stages of what I think a lot of people are going to be doing, dude. I don't know.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, take a look at what Michelle says. Can we protect our mountain? Absolutely. See, when you're up here, no matter where you're at in Costa Rica, the biggest problem is petty theft. Petty theft. You can't leave nothing out. Okay. Well, guess what? On this mountain, we protect our mountain. My neighbor, he don't never take the keys out of his motorbike. He don't never take the keys out of his truck. Nothing's locked up. Okay. Guess what? Nobody takes nothing up here because we know everybody that's here. And you know what? We're at the end of the road. There's one way in, one way out. When you come up here, everybody knows it. So, crooks, thieves, they're lazy.
I almost think it's funny. I'm like, can you imagine us kind of going, well, that guy that just ripped off my house, he had a bad childhood and, we should let him go. That motherfucker will never step foot on our mountain again. He will have no legs and maybe half an arm.
Look,
teach that.
Absolutely. I mean, that's me. It's like, dude, you know what they do off in the Middle East whenever you steal something? They cut your right hand off. Guess what? It's a reminder every day. I won't be stealing from Alan again.
And I'm not saying we would do that, but I'm not saying we wouldn't either.
That's right.
Hey, somebody asked way up there about gun laws. We've talked about them before. I want to go over them real quick again. Technically, you're probably not going to be able to get a gun here. I can get a gun here. I can get a gun. And there's also in the laws, I don't know if people know this, but there's also something about farmers or owning land that like you can have a rifle or something. You know what I mean? Something like that there's this kind of asterisk of like if.
So yeah, I'll tell you that deal. So I can literally go into a gun shop and I can buy a little 22 pistol, okay? Because a farmer can have a pistol on his farm. Don't get caught with that pistol in your car. You can't go to town with it. So the law seems kind of backwards because I went there to go buy a 22 rifle, so that I could hunt the wild turkeys if I wanted to, but Costa Rica, there is no hunting, no hunting, so they will sell you a pistol that you could put in your pants and go rob somebody. So that's why, which we don't have a lot of that in Costa Rica, but it can happen. That's why thugs can get a gun. Oh yeah, I'm on a farm. So you can buy a little pistol, okay? But then you got to have permissions to buy the bullets. But in Costa Rica, I mean, you can get anybody to buy bullets for you, okay? So yeah, there are gun laws. You will not be able to bring your gun into Costa Rica. That'll never happen. You try to bring your gun in Costa Rica, you'll spend 7 years immediately in jail for just trying to get it in. You can't. I didn't know it was there. My wife packed it. Ain't happening.
I'll get a gun. I don't care. If I feel now, I wouldn't carry it around though. It would be personal home protection for me. And I don't care. I just don't care what the law is. I want to go back to something else. Somebody talked about net fishing here. I kind of know a lot about that. There's a lot of fishing that's illegal, long line fishing. But the problem with Costa Rica, and I hate saying this, man, because it makes me sad. They have laws about a lot of things. Unfortunately, the Koreans bring their ships in. The Chinese bring their ships in. They do shark finning here. They're not supposed to do it. There's laws that say no shark finning. There's laws that say no long line fishing. There's lines that say no big net fishing. But they come in here and they swoop it up and they go and nothing ever seems to happen because, I don't know, maybe because China built them a soccer stadium and gave them police cars. I'm just saying, unfortunately, they do have laws here about all this. And then also, unfortunately, they're circumvented a lot. And sometimes they're not able to enforce the laws they make. And that's one of the kind of the bad things about living here, that they got the laws on some of this stuff, but they can't enforce them. And a lot of people know that.
That's right. That's right. Now, living up here is good. Floreno asked, well, is Costa Rica good for a job? I speak good English and I speak English and Spanish. Now, if you need a job, don't come to Costa Rica. You have to work online because it's illegal for a tourist to work in Costa Rica. Do some do it? Yeah, there's people working under the table. You get caught, you'll get deported. So once you become a resident, thing does change a little bit. But Costa Rica's real big on you ain't taking a Tico's job. So you need to learn. You can come up here, start your own construction business. You can buy your own restaurant. You can have you can create your own job, but you can't come up here and get a job.
Yeah, you can buy the restaurant and bar, but you can only manage the restaurant and bar. You can't work. You can't serve my beer, technically speaking. So that's kind of what they do. So you don't have to be a resident. You can come up here and literally start a business without being a resident, but you can't work the business. Now,
that's right.
Unfortunately, I've seen that circumvented a lot too, but a lot of people don't really want to take the risk when they maybe invested $200,000 to start their restaurant bar, and they just hire the locals like they're supposed to, and they do everything above board. But there'll be some people that go, oh, let me try to get by with that. Well, that may not be worth the risk to a lot of people. So it just depends on, your way of thinking. But I'd be careful if you tend to serve me the beer and you're not,
That's right. So you definitely got to be careful. So you have to do what Randall does. He says he does Forex. So you work for yourself. You can do Forex as long as you got internet. I work online. I create courses and teach people how to make money online. Rebecca, she works online. She's an accountant. Okay. So you got to do those kind of things. Take a look at this guy.
Wait, let's just stop real quick on there. We also have somebody at the relocation retreat that I'm going to put up the interview soon. I was amazed. I did not know all the options. Now, everyone knows speaking English and selling solar panels and some of these things, but she was privy to a lot of things that you can do to maybe even follow your own passion, but using the internet where you don't think they connect. You're going, well, I could never do that on the internet. Well, maybe you can. So again, this relocation retreat, man, we cover all the bases. So I don't know. I just found it very interesting that you can do a lot more on the internet than you think you can do. Or some of this older people.
I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people hear me say, I'll create courses to teach you how to make money online. And a lot of people think, oh, scam, that crap don't work. Well, there's a lot of stuff you can do, just like you said, and just like that one speaker, there is a lot of stuff you can do. For example, Michelle's right here, and Michelle, I think I was talking to her. I think she's actually starting to do some of her stuff online, and so she can teach health and health online. There's a lot of stuff you can do online.
Hey, you just did this and got the confetti.
I got stuff happens on accident.
You were like this. Yeah, there you go.
I don't know how some of this stuff comes up.
Guys, we're about done. We can answer a couple more questions, but I think we'll probably have a part 2 on this because it's a interesting conversation. And again, for the 15th time, the way the world is going, more people are wanting to have this conversation. And, and if anybody watching this now goes, hey, I'd like to talk to Alan about maybe, I don't know, investing or chatting with him, I say go for it. Maybe he'll entertain something, maybe he won't, but you're never going to know unless you reach out. So we'll answer a few questions. So you guys got a couple questions.
Sonny says, hey, you're in the mountains, but how far are you from the closest hospital? So when I first moved up here, the closest hospital was 3 hours away. And I say that because right now it's only 2 hours away. And that's because we've done the city actually did a lot of maintenance to the main highway, but that may not last. So anyway, there is a clinic an hour and a half away, but then there's a main hospital that is 3 hours away. Okay. So,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
And, now go ahead, because I was just looking at prices, but you may have something on that topic.
No, I want to put this one up. I just want to say, because this is a good point. I want to be out in Alan's community. I just don't want gringo priced. So I can tell you guys, this is what's great about me and Alan. We are honest, but guess what? If you honestly think I would let Alan rip anybody off and not expose him for the creep he was, or vice versa, let's say somebody got scammed by me. You think Alan's going to let me go, give me a pass? Our integrity is everything to us. You really believe with the channel that I got, the channel that he has, that he's just going to rip people off? Even if he wanted to rip you off, he couldn't, because he would be so exposed on the internet these days. It would never happen. So, but he wouldn't do it. But I'm just saying, think about this for a minute. I wouldn't let him do it. He wouldn't let me do it. And you would never have to worry about that, because you would say.
Anna ain't got nothing to worry about. The only person getting the gringo price is Michael, but I ain't telling him, because I'm getting his lot for $1 million cash.
Hey, I'll be picking strawberries 24/7. I don't care, whatever it takes to get up there.
So now, someone else asked real quick. Well, of course, right here, Shelly says, hey, can you help me when I get her thing going online? All you got to do is reach out to me, Shelly. I can tell you exactly what you need to do. Yeah, and look, Michelle says, yeah, I'm, online health and wellness coach. And that's pretty great. I saw one here. Someone asked about, let me look for it real quick here. Oh, someone asked about the elevation. That's what I was looking for. Someone asked, what is the elevation? And where I'm at right now is at 4,750 feet. That's the elevation where I'm at. Okay.
So it's cold. It's cold at night.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the coldest it gets at night for me has been 59 degrees. Okay. And of course, Bruce says, hey, Alan, what do you do to get internet? And so what we have to use is we use what's called point to point. So I got this tower way over in the valley, and it shoots 35 kilometers way up here to the tower in the mountain. And so anyway, it's called point to point. And then I shoot it from the top of the mountain at 6,000 feet down to my house at 4,700 feet. But Starlink is right around the corner, and you'll be able to get Starlink, and you don't have to have that kind of system, which is kind of complicated. I know how to do it, and that's what we've had internet for with the last 2 years.
Guys, I'm going out to the lake, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I love your guys' support and your questions and hanging out with us. It's these are going to, I think even this podcast is probably going to expand through the weeks. I think we're going to be seeing more people on it. I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your hour with us. And I got to go. I think Alan might even hang out, but I have to go, and I'm going to go out on the lake and have some fun. And we'll see you next Sunday. Michal Alan, Travel Costa Rica Now. Alan Tarjay is probably going to
real quick before you leave, Michael. Just want to let them know, starting next week, right? Because Michael's running. He's always got 24. He's got 100 things to do. But what we're going to start doing next week is that, hey, we're going to have our podcast, and then whenever Michael's ready to leave, we'll shut this down. But it will immediately redirect to a Q&A session to where, hey, if you got a few more questions, we didn't have time to answer all your questions, you can hang out for a little bit longer, and I'll answer your questions the best of my ability. So we'll start that next week.
Yeah, I won't answer shit, so you're gonna have to hang out with Alan. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Laters. Ciao.
And I'll update you on Starlink next week.